Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Marie. Today, I'm going to talk to you about detachment. Detachment is one of those skill sets, one of those tools that we learn to put into our toolbox that it's easy enough to talk about, it's easy enough to learn, but it's not so easy to put it into practice. And so today I'd like to offer you a little clearer lens of perception on detachment so that you can start to learn to put that into your own practice a little bit more. Detachment does not mean that you don't care about your life or that you are not engaging in your life. Detachment simply means that you're taking yourself up a notch. So just like we've talked about in our video series, The World Behind Your Eyes, the apartment building, when you move up into these higher levels of yourself, of those energies within yourself, you start to learn how to see things through a different lens so that you're not so emotionally engaged and triggered all the time. And the value of detachment comes into play there. You know, in the beginning years when I was learning to discover really who I was, what was my purpose, what was I supposed to be doing with my life, you know, the bigger questions that have led you ultimately to this platform. It was in learning that value of detachment that allowed me personally, myself, to break away from those patterns that had gone on in my own life because I could see them with a different lens of clarity. So for myself, I like to use my archetype of the teacher because it brings me upstairs, right? I'm not down in these bottom three chakras where I'm fighting, but it allows me to go upstairs and look at a situation with that little bit more critical eye. It's not unlike when, you have a family member or maybe a good friend, maybe they're having some difficulties in their own life and you can see it clearly, but they can't see it. It's that. It's allowing yourself that kind of clarity to view your own life. So when I go upstairs and I have a look at a situation in my life from that 60,000 foot perspective, I go into my teacher archetype and I start looking at things in my life through that lens. And for me, the teacher archetype is a very natural archetype in my life that allows me to be able to break things down for you in a format that is a little bit more digestible and understandable. And I learned over many years how to do that exactly for myself, how to jump upstairs, hop into my teacher archetype, and look at any given situation with that kind of clarity. Like what's going on over here. So when I'm emotionally engaged and I'm, worried about something, or if I'm frustrated about something, or, one of those negative emotions, I'll catch myself. Remember this whole diving into the world behind your eyes. It isn't about being perfect. It's about catching yourself faster the next time you fall down to those bottom chakras. So detachment is that lovely impersonal voice where we can look at our own life with a little bit more of a critical eye, discover that we can maybe make a choice that empowers us rather than disempowers us. Detachment is learning to let go and let be, because the journey of healing is all about letting go. And again, it's not about not engaging in your own life. It's not about not loving your life or loving the people in your life. It's learning to see things from that place where you're not emotionally engaged all the time. Because at some point we all have to come to that realization that the only things that you can really change in your life is you. You can't change anybody around you. And I think that's one of the most difficult things I had to learn as a parent, was that once my children were grown up and adults, that that they could run their own lives and they really didn't need my opinion in on anything. And rather than allowing that to take away from me, to deflate my energy or make me feel upset or bad about myself, I went upstairs, and had a talk with myself and said, hey, so you raised your children to be strong, independent, thinking individuals, and that's where they're at in life. I couldn't be upset about that. I had to be happy that I had done a good enough job in being a parent, that I have 3 lovely, wonderful children in my life that can make those decisions for themselves. So that's what detachment is. Detachment is not letting yourself getting caught up in all of the emotional states that can wind you up and suck the life out of you. It's taking that higher perspective, looking at things from a little bit different lens, and, asking those questions of yourself. Do I need to get angry with this? Is this a situation I need to engage my anger in to change? Or is it one of these situations where there's nothing that I could say or do that would change anything? So rather than sit here and get frustrated and stew about it, you let it go. You just detach from it. I have a wonderful friend of mine that likes to use the term, not my monkey, not my circus. It works. Because at the end of the day, if you can't do anything about a situation, you really have to learn to detach. Because otherwise, you're just going to continue suffering, and you're the one that's creating your suffering. So learn to detach. Learn to let go. Learn to realize that there is this bigger force for all of us that's moving all of us along in life. And learning to let go is one of the most beautiful things that you can do for yourself. It's very freeing. It's very freeing for your spirit, and it allows your soul to come up out of those heavy, dark places where you might have had it buried for a few decades, and it allows it to come into the light, and you become a clearer, lighter, more beautiful individual because you've learned to let go. That's the power of detachment. It's a wonderful, wonderful gift that you can learn to give yourself. So, tuck that one into your toolbox for today, and thank you for joining me. If this video is something that you've liked, if you can give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and if the world behind your eyes sounds like a healing modality that you would like to dive into, then look in our description for the link. Head on over to my website to check out the course curriculum on the world behind your eyes. Thank you for joining me.